Deji Adeyanju. Let me say this. Be careful the way you criticize Peter Obi. Don't criticize him just for the sake of criticizing him. Now you ask the question. Out of Peter Obi, Rotimi Amechi, Atiku Abubakar, Tinubu, which of them have turned their states to Dubai? The first question you should have asked is, how long did it take for Dubai to transform from a poor country to a rich country? And I'm talking about the whole UAE now, not just Dubai as a city. How long did it take them? 30 years. 30. How long did Peter Obi serve as governor? 8 years. So you see, when you're talking about transforming their state to Dubai, it doesn't follow because you're not comparing apples to apples. What you should ask is this, and this is where Peter Obi stands out. How much revenue was accruing to them while they were governor or vice president? And what were they able to do with that revenue? Whose lives among their citizens were touched by their administration? And what legacy did they leave behind? When you're talking about, oh, Dubai, some supporters of Tinubu will be happy now and say, yes, if it's that one, it's Tinubu now. Look at Eco Atlantic. It's Tinubu. On the surface, it may appear like that. But is that really the case? What was the revenue that was coming to Tinubu while he was governor? Tinubu really didn't do much in Lagos while he was governor. Perhaps because of his problems that he had with with Obasanjo, where for like 3 years Obasanjo withheld their allocation. And he was just surviving on IGR. But that IGR was still way more substantial than what Peter Obi had in his 8 years as governor of Anambra State. And when you juxtapose on top of that, the fact that Tinubu borrowed crazy. At the end of the day, instead of leaving money behind, he left gbese behind for Fashola. Fashola built on that gbese, but he was able to do a lot more than Tinubu ever did. Then you had Ambode build on that, did way more. In fact, he was doing so well that Tinubu felt threatened and pushed him out and brought Sanwo-Olu. So if you look in terms of, their revenue and what Peter Obi was able to do, when Peter Obi was governor, Peter Obi got the federal government award for having the best road network constructed. Deji, you are a lawyer, verify these things. I'm sure you know them. Best road network. Peter Obi got award for moving education from number 24 to number 1. Healthcare, the same thing. These are the things you use to measure how the people benefit from government or from governance. Not Lagos, where the revenue of a whole state has been collected and used to build an Eco Atlantic for less than 0.1% of the population. What is the state in Nigeria? In fact, in Africa, with the largest number of slums. Google it. It is Lagos State. So with all the revenues, with all the loans, with all the allocation, Lagos State has the highest number of slums, the highest number of poor people. You can say, that's because it has a large population. But China also has a large population. China has 7 times the population of Nigeria, but they have less people living in poverty than Nigeria has. So if Lagos is a state and Lagos has the highest number of slums and Lagos has the highest number of poor people. But then you have the same Lagos state having the highest number of revenue, internally generated revenue, IGR, allocation, they are not pushovers. And then you have that same Lagos use public loan in so-called public-private partnership to now establish an Eco-Atlantic that 0.1% of Lagosians have access to, and the majority of Lagosians can never have access to. Is that the kind of development you're talking about? And if that is not enough for you, Deji, ask yourself this question. In Nigeria today, for Nigeria to be better, for Nigeria to work for all, what is the biggest obstacle? What is the biggest problems that Nigeria faces? What is that one thing that is stopping Nigeria from developing? Is it not corruption? Now, if you talk in terms of corruption, who better to handle corruption out of the 5 people you mentioned? Is it not Peter Obi? Peter Obi will handle corruption better than even a Sowore, and Sowore knows this. It's not about shouting, look at what he did while he was governor. The people that are shouting that Peter Obi did not do anything in Anambra, they are the thieves that felt schemed out, that felt like Peter Obi did not allow them to chop money the way they wanted to chop. Those are the people complaining. Do you expect somebody who has been feeding fat on government to now come and now have a governor like Peter Obi who is cutting down on government expenditure, now cuts down that contract? You expect that person to be happy, to be singing Peter Obi's praise? You go complain now. The people who were used to eating allocation that was made to hospitals, and Peter Obi came and said, no, we are giving the money directly to the hospital. We are sidestepping, removing the middlemen that were eating the money. You think those nurses will be happy? Is that not why they went on strike for almost a year? And at the end of the day, they saw reasons with Peter Obi. They came back, and Peter Obi built new hospitals, new nursing school, and became #1 in healthcare. Deji, I'm saying this to you because I see you as an objective person. I know definitely there is no way you can wake up a man who's pretending to be asleep. A supporter of Tinubu will never see reason or listen to any explanation of how good Peter Obi is. It will be a waste of time trying to convince such people. But you, I feel you are objective, and that's why I am trying to do all this explanation. Please, let's tone down on the criticism of Peter Obi. He's better than the rest. Even his fellow governors were mocking him for leaving money behind. You say he invested government money in his private business. Where is he supposed to invest government money? And it's not his private business. Look, you're chairman of a bank. Chairman of a bank is not the MD of a bank. You, Deji, you know this. Chairman of a bank doesn't have a say in the day-to-day running of a bank. I am a shareholder in a couple of banks. I attend board meetings, and I know the role of a chairman and the role of an MD. Peter Obi was not the MD of Fidelity Bank. He was chairman, right? And that chairman, they hold meeting how many times? Maybe 3 or 4 times. The day-to-day running of the bank is not Peter Obi. So coming to say he put it in his personal bank, that is simply not true. It's simply not true. Now, he invested it in banks that would do well for the investment. The mind to even do that investment. Should you not be clapping for Peter Obi for having that mindset? Should you not be? And then you say, oh, he did breweries. It's teaching people to drink. Are people not drinking? Do you know how much Nigerian breweries is making? And if he sees an opportunity to create jobs that way, should he not do it? Look, Peter Obi is 1,000 times better than the rest of them. If not for anything, the fact that he has shown how cost of governance can be reduced, he has shown how corruption can be removed. Those two things alone, they are enough. If corruption is taken out of Nigeria today, insecurity will be solved. 99% of the cause of insecurity in Nigeria is corruption. If we take corruption out of oil and gas, you will see that there's no need for us to be paying 1,500 naira per liter of fuel. It is corruption. It's not about subsidy. The subsidy is corruption. Even Buhari told us this much. Buhari, where we say not go school, he told us this much. The reason why Tinubu has made himself the Minister of Petroleum is so that he can cover the corruption that is going on in the oil and gas. And that's what he's doing. So much corruption in there. With a Peter Obi removing the corruption in the oil and gas, we can have petrol selling for 300 naira per liter. And Nigeria will still be making profit. The problem is corruption. The roads that are bad, we have poor road network. Some people say, oh, we need a lot of money. It's not about money. Even the monies that are allocated, the Abuja Lokoja road have been awarded many, many times. They know they finish them. They will collect money, the road is still not done. The Okene to Benin, the same thing. All these roads are in bad state. Why? Because they were not awarded. They are always awarded, but corruption. So if we have a Peter Obi come in and take away corruption, our road networks will be good. And with the mindset of consumption to production, many people don't understand it. We have Deji Adeyanju come to argue the other time that Peter Obi doesn't know what he's saying. That, you must have a consumption. America is a consumption. Nobody is saying that Nigerians should not consume. The message was clear. Being a consumption economy alone does not help you. You have to be a production economy. And he's saying, okay, produce what you consume. That's what he was talking about when he says from consumption to production. If it takes out the corruption and then begins to invest in critical areas, in manufacturing, in education, in health, in power, why don't we have 24/7 electricity today? Corruption. It's not because we have not invested. Obasanjo invested $16 billion. Tinubu has invested over $12 billion. I'm talking about the APC now. 12 billion. Yet, we don't have 24/7 electricity. And then, even when they say they are giving us band A, we are paying through our nose and we are still not getting that 20 hours of electricity minimum. Right now, there's no electricity. I'm using solar now. And they still charge you exorbitantly. Why? Why is the national grid always collapsing? Corruption. So if a Peter Obi comes and takes out the corruption in the power sector, we will have 24/7 light. Leave all this talk that he's saying, I'm going to study. The problem is corruption. No. I studied electrical electronics engineering, one of my first degrees. So I know what I'm talking about. I've been to Kainji, I've been to Shirura, I've been to a lot of this power. I've been to Egbintama power station. I know that the problem of Nigeria's power sector is not the want of money. No, it's not the want of investment. Now corruption. The little money that we have invested, which is not so little anyway, if there was no corruption, we would have gotten at least 20,000 megawatts by now. Our transmission system, the grid, would have been upgraded by now. What is in a grid? But corruption. So if you have a Peter Obi come in there and take out the corruption, we'll have 24 hours electricity. That is cheap. That we can export and also make money. So Deji, I know to agree with this your assertion. We need to change. You need to stop attacking Peter Obi for the sake of attacking Peter Obi. You need to start looking at really being objective for the sake of our country.